Joining me now to discuss is Democratic Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland of Washington State. She's a member of the House Armed Services Committee and sits on the Military Personnel Subcommittee. Welcome, Congresswoman. Good to see you. Let's start with the defense bill vote. The House narrowly passed a bill that would ban the Secretary of Defense from paying for or reimbursing service members for abortion-related expenses and gender-affirming care. What is your reaction to seeing these attempts, these ongoing attempts to strike down reproductive health care and health care writ large from within the military itself?
It's another example of how irresponsible Republicans have become because they're afraid to stand up to the most extreme elements of their party. In our committee during markup, we passed a bill 58-1. It had broad bipartisan support. And with the National Defense Authorization Act, that is typically a bipartisan effort. But after the amendments were added onto it, these were things that Democrats just could not vote for. Taking away a woman's right to choose, trying to destroy diversity, equity, and inclusion, saying that the military academy should never consider those things when they're promoting people and trying to let people get in. And so I just think what happened is that the bill became so contaminated that thoughtful Democrats simply could not vote for it.
The NDAA has historically been, to your point about bipartisanship, that must-pass bill, right? No one really second-guessed that. This time around, however, it's loaded, and indeed overloaded, with culture war amendments, et cetera. Does it even have a chance in the Senate at this point?
So the good news is that the Senate will take a look at their version and decide what they think they want to pass, and then something will come back to the House. And so the good news is that the Senate now has this in its hands, and they're working on their version of the NDAA, and so we'll see what comes back. But, you know, we had a clean version coming out of our committee. Again, bipartisan support, 58-1. It was something that we were able to come to agreement on and compromise. And then all these contaminants get added to this bill. And it's just irresponsible. And it basically says to service members, we don't respect you. We don't respect your diverse backgrounds. Oh, and by the way, if you're a woman, we don't think you have the right to make a personal, private decision about your reproductive health care.
I want to pivot to Senator Tuberville. Lieutenant General Andrew Rawlings said on Monday that Tuberville's blockade is irresponsible and dangerous. He pointed to Colonel Kareem Montague, who should now be getting paid as a general, but he's not because of the delay in his promotion. That's just one of many examples, Congresswoman, but talk to us about, and talk us through, if you could, the impact this is having on service members directly.
So to your point earlier, over 250 promotions are on hold right now, could be up to 640 by the end of this year. And it is completely irresponsible. It compromises national security, it compromises global security, and it creates all this chaos. But if you come back to what is happening within the Republican Party today, it started when Kevin McCarthy was trying to get confirmed to get that gavel. They allowed the extreme elements to take over their party, and now they are beholden to them, and they do not have the courage to stand up to them. And this is one example, as President Biden said. Moderate Democrats, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your point.
No, so moderate Republicans, people who have common sense, people who, by the way, got elected in swing districts, it's time for them to stand up and say, this is about protecting the American people. It's about national security. It's about making sure that our military is its strongest, and doing this and delaying this because he wants to have a war about a woman's right to travel across state lines to get access to abortion is just irresponsible. And by the way, that right to travel across state lines is protected by the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, that pesky little constitutional thing. Senator Tuberville has also said that these blocks, however, in this promotion should have minimal effect on service members' ability to lead. What's your response to that? And what is, I guess at the bottom line, what is this senator fundamentally misunderstanding or just outright missing altogether?
So I don't think he's missing anything. This is very calculated, and it's part of the extreme vision of members of the GOP who want to have a national ban on abortion and want to insert their personal values on the greater good. So again, this is going to affect military readiness. It's going to affect actually recruiting and retention. So many different things. And creating all this uncertainty in the military ranks is the opposite of national security. It's the opposite of keeping us safe. It's the opposite of saying that you respect the people who fight for us every single day.
Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.